Today I want to show you all how to do sgraffito, which is basically Italian for scratch it. And it is a really old and really new technique, meaning it's been done forever, and it's still being done today because it's fun and just gives you so many different design options. You can do anything from abstract stuff to pieces like this that I'm going to show you today. Trees. So I used a very obscure, hard to find, fancy professional artistic tool to sketch these trees on. You may be familiar with it if you're, very artsy-fartsy like I am. It is known as a Crayola marker. You could get them at Target. It's nice because it's I'm not even going to apologize for being crazy because honestly in my chosen profession it's a benefit. So it's all going to disappear. It's going to burn off in the kiln, all of those orange lines. It's just my guideline for what I'm going to do next, and that is take some of my carving tools, which look like this. See how they have little loops? That one's really hard to see. Can you see it now, the little tiny loop? And this just scratches away little bits of clay. I've heard that the word sgraffito actually comes from the barracks of the old Roman soldiers, where they would be lonely and they would scratch their names into the walls, which were made of stone. And it's still going on to this day, whether it's on a classroom desk or on a plate. So I'm going to want this to be a birch tree forest. So I'm going to carve it in the negative. That means that everything that's orange right now, everything that is a tree, is going to stay white. And I'm going to carve away everything that's not a tree. First I want a bigger tool. So let's see, that in the corner is a tree. So instead of carving where that tree is, I'm going to carve right outside the line of that tree. And the tree next to it, which has some of those little dead branches that stick off to the side like that. This is like the Bob Ross world. Your trees can be whatever you want them to be. See, then it's got a little branch that goes off this way, and it's got a little jagged there because it's pine needles. I can brush away the excess because I made sure that the plate was dry enough. Trying to hold it where I can carve it and also show it. I'll just carve it upside down. You see that better? Yeah. So here's the outline of this other little tree right here, and there's its little broken off lower branches. Here's an upper branch here that's got some pine needles on it. The tree continues upward. I've got another branch with pine needles on it up here. Doesn't even have to be a specific tree. You can just kind of go crazy and make cool, weird, imaginary trees. So now that I have the outlines, I'm going to go and scratch away everything that's in between there, but I'm going to do it in a few different directions, and I'm going to do it slightly sloppily. Try saying that 3 times fast. Slightly sloppily. I do it slightly sloppily because I want to leave some of the underlying texture. See how I leave just a little bit? When you're carving, it's nice to rest things on a pillow and be aware of your ergonomics. Meaning, I have this all propped up on a big foam pillow so that I don't have to hunch over like Quasimodo to carve my plates. Sanctuary. You want to be able to sit tall, otherwise your back will hurt and you won't want to carve. And then we dump all the shavings on the floor. Sweep them up later. So I'm still carving away this one little spot. When I get to very nice big areas like this, I can be a little bit more aggressive with it. Because I'm not really in danger of going outside of my lines. And if you go outside the lines, whatever, just makes it part of the design. So I've met up here with this other tree, making sure you can see. Try to commit to your line when you're carving. It will look better if you make a very sure, fluid line and it ends up slightly to the left or the right of where you want it to be, than if you make this halted start and stop, start and stop. Just commit to it, and if you practice enough, it'll start getting more and more natural. Besides, perfect is just a marketing tool. There's really no such thing as perfection. And if there were, God, that would be so boring. I mean, where would you go after that? Real trees are not perfect. They have scars and storm damage. So don't worry if you do a tree and it kind of looks funky. You can just say it got struck by lightning or whatever. So now I've got this nice extra negative space in there. And like negative ions, negative space is a positive thing. Art teacher jokes. I'm not going to apologize. It's just who I am. And we scratch and we scratch and we scratch. Because that's what sgraffito is all about. Those little pine needles, I can add some detail there. The beauty of sgraffito is the contrast that it gives you. And I'm doing this particular sgraffito piece on a brown clay body with white slip, white underglaze. You could use either. White underglaze painted on it, but you can do it with any color. It was very commonly done in Greece on a red clay body with a black slip. And they would take a smooth stone and they would polish and polish it and polish it till it shone like glass. Very beautiful stuff. The black and red ware. I think that's what the art historians call it, the black and red ware. You know, for someone who's into art history, that's a very unimaginative, uncreative name. It's starting to emerge. And my table is rolling away from me. Can you see that? There you go. Because this is a technique where you are scratching away from the surface, it's not forgiving in the way that you can't erase. You just kind of have to go with it. It's that expression, if you stumble, just make it part of the dance. That kind of thing. Or you could just throw it in the recycle bucket and start over. The only difference between a good potter and a beginner potter is that the good potter has made and ruined a lot more pots and learned what not to do. So if you're just getting started and you're making lots and lots of ugly artwork, good job, keep it up. Actually, the psychological benefits of creating artwork work in your benefit regardless of whether you are good or not. Like singing and dancing. You don't have to be good at it to be good for you. Also, don't drop it. It's coming out. See that little messy thing? That's going to be a bird. We'll get to that at some point.